Hello, Americans. Gun violence is an ever-pressing issue that affects every American citizen in one way or another. Some people believe that this is a people problem and not a gun problem. Did you know that since 1968, more people have been killed by guns in this country than the total number of U.S. casualties in every major American war? What we will be presenting to you today are the effects of gun violence currently plaguing American society.
This is America. Don't catch you slipping now. Don't catch you slipping now. Look what I'm whipping now. This is America. Don't catch you slipping now. Don't catch you slipping now.
We traveled to the state of Indiana to see how easy it is for anyone to purchase a firearm. I needed my ID to prove I was 18, I provided a proper reason to carry a firearm, and I proved I was a U.S. citizen with no felonies. I brought registration forms to indicate I was not from Indiana to apply for a short-term permit lasting 4 years. That's how easy it was for me to go in and buy a firearm. American citizens have been buying and maintaining their right to own firearms since the foundation of our country. The Second Amendment reads, "A well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed." The debate being is if these citizens bearing arms are part of a well-regulated militia and doing anything to the security of our state. That is exactly what the District of Columbia versus Heller court case came down to. It was a 5-4 ruling in favor of the protection of the Second Amendment. The question for you viewers is, should it be so easy to buy and own a firearm in our country? You saw how easy it was for me to buy a pistol. It's up to you guys.
This is America. Don't catch you slipping now. Don't catch you slipping now. Look what I'm whipping now. This is America.
How do you feel about that?
It's really scary. I've been thinking about it a lot recently, just hope for the best, I guess, considering how many shootings there've been.
But it's so many kids in the school, you never know what could happen. You feel me? It's hard to cater to a lot of students to see what's really going through people's minds.
I would say I don't feel as safe as normally, just because at any given moment, being in school, living my everyday life, there's a possibility that I could be killed.
It doesn't seem fathomable that Oak Park could get shot up, because it's never happened before here, right? So
I think there needs to be precautions taken, but yeah, it's all just random.
It's sometimes in the back of my mind that it could happen to us, but at the end of the day, it's just you can't always live your life in fear. You kind of have to keep going.
Do you feel walkouts accomplish anything?
I think walkouts were a good way to spread awareness during the time being, but the fact that students stopped with the walkouts and they haven't been pushing more to go for this greater cause, that it's not as effective as it should be.
I think they help spread awareness, but besides that, they don't really do anything as far as legislation goes.
I personally do not think walkouts accomplish anything just from our school, because during the walkout, many people just left school and weren't actually protesting anything or didn't know why.
You see all right, cool. A big group of students organized and did this great thing, but if nothing changes, it doesn't matter.
Your voice being heard is important, but if you writing letters to the Senate, writing letters to your representative, that is what's going to change things.
Due to the commonality of school shootings today, my generation is frequently labeled as Generation Lockdown. This helps to show the effects that school shootings have had on today's youth like me. Starting in elementary school, we have learned lockdown drills, or mass shooting drills, which were held twice a school year. We are told to huddle in the corner in silence, as we will not be seen visible from the door. But though this drill should be taken seriously, frequently, even by students like me, it isn't. This is a time for these students to sit on their phones, catch up with friends, or do some homework. We students have become desensitized to school shootings and gun violence. I hear students talking in the hall, and they say, "Oh, did you hear? There's another school shooting," in a monotone voice. We are no longer fazed by school shootings, even though they're occurring closer and closer to our homes and at a greater rate than ever before. So far this year, there have been a total of 23 school shootings, which totals to 1 a week this year. Unless OPRF wants to become another statistic for school shootings, we must make a change.
The use of firearms and acts of violence involving gangs is clearly evident throughout history. Since 1993, nearly all gang-related incidents of violence have involved guns at 95%, a number that has remained constant to this day. In total, a baffling 80% of all gun homicides in the U.S. involved gangs. The term gang-affiliated violence is typically defined as unnecessary and criminal acts of violence committed by gang members, most commonly occurring in inner-city regions inflicted via gunshot. Cities such as Detroit, Compton, Jersey City, and Baltimore are all known to have very violent histories, and the most infamous violent region in the U.S. today is Chicago, Illinois.
Nationally, when people talk about Chicago right now, it's like the most notorious city in the country. People talk about the South Side and the West Side and gangs. Do you think it's worse than people think it is, or is it exaggerated? It's worse. It's worse.
Kill. The guy got out the car and he started shooting at the man on the porch right next door to us. He didn't care that we was right there or nothing. He just started shooting at the man on the porch.
In Chicago, a statistic shows that approximately one murder is committed every 18 hours. In 2017, 93% of all homicides in the city were inflicted through gun wound. This year, over 1,000 people have already been shot. 200 of those have been fatal. Most of the violence occurs in neighborhoods with trends of violent activity, otherwise known as hotspots. The recent worst neighborhood for violence in Chicago is Austin, with already 30 homicides this year. The total cost of gun violence to the city is estimated around $1 billion per year. Many people describe the entire situation as an endless and pointless cycle of violence. In order to stop the continuation of senseless murdering, a nationwide social movement campaigning peace, safety, and community within violent domains needs to occur, in hopes that Americans will be moved to vote for reformed gun laws.
You just a black man, bro. You just a buck, hey.